Hello, you beautiful bastards. My name's Dean, and I'm here to talk to you about LARP. So, what is LARP, you ask? LARP stands for Live Action Role Play. And you might be thinking, what the hell's live action role play? Well, it's a good job you're watching this video because I'm gonna explain everything, or at least most things. Probably not enough. So for anybody who doesn't know what LARP is, you're probably thinking, hey, I remember LARP being on role models. Technically, you're right. However, it really isn't that cringy, I can promise you that.
You lost an arm, honey. Nice one, dude.
So because of role models, LARP has kind of gotten a bad name, but I'm here to try and rectify that. So for you guys that have never heard of LARP before, what is LARP? So if you're a complete geek like me, you may have heard of the game Dungeons and Dragons. You know, the little board game where you move your character around and you go through dungeons and stuff. Cool stuff like that. For those of you who have not played Dungeons and Dragons before, let me give you a quick recap. So Dungeons and Dragons is essentially a tabletop game where you create your own character and you move through dungeons. It is usually played with friends, so obviously they have created their own characters as well, and you come together and you destroy whatever is in front of you. Dungeons and Dragons is also operated by a dungeon master. The dungeon master overlooks the game and he creates NPCs. Anything that is to do with the game goes through the Dungeon Master. Right, now that the D&D explanation has been done, I'm here to tell you that it is basically D&D, but in real life. However, there is no Dungeon Master in LARP. Unless you want to count God. Then sure, there's a Dungeon Master. So to be able to participate in LARP, all you need is one thing, a good imagination. So first things first, when going to LARP, you're gonna need yourself a character. An example of that would be my character, Lark Willowstone. I've been playing him for several years, and to this day he is still alive. Although technically his soul did get ripped into 3 pieces back in Canada, but he's still alive. When creating your character, it is always fun to base it off someone that we know. However, try and be as original as possible. We don't want a bunch of wizards roaming around named Gandalf, or a bunch of guys with a furry cape called Jon Snow. So take my character, for example. He is a werebear. He wears some armor. He also has a shield and a mace. This is my longest running character, and unfortunately it has been recently that I've had to retire this character due to wanting to play another character. Just for now. So where does the imagination come into play? Building your character can be so much fun. I have spent hours with my characters sometimes. Hours. I come up with huge backstories, what the character wields, how they talk, how they dress. Honestly, the list goes on and on. If you are just starting out LARP and you're kind of just wanting to get a little feel for what's going on first, make yourself a disposable character. One that you can throw away if he dies. It doesn't really matter, it's fine. Just get him out of the way just so you can get a feel for the system. So there are some things to consider when creating your character. For instance, what race is your character? It doesn't have to be a human. It could be anything. I shit you not, I have come across these things called Vorpal bunnies. And I know you're thinking, oh, cute little bunny, how harmless can it be? Oh no. These things can rip your limbs off. My first encounter with a Vorpal bunny, I did the same thing. Oh, such a cute little bunny, oh, how you doing? So me being the nice guy I am as a character, I went to go pet it. It was then that one of my friends came and rescued me from this terrifying demon of a bunny. He literally swooped in, grabbed me by the arm, and yeeted me across the field.
No, it's only a bunny, it's not gonna hurt me. It's a Vorpal bunny. It's a Vorpal. Oh wait, a Vorpal bunny.
Just so I wouldn't get my limb ripped off by a bunny. I say anything lightly. It has to be something with a pulse. Actually, technically it doesn't. It could be a zombie, so who knows. You could be human, you could be an elf, you could be an orc, you could be a dwarf, you could be a demon, anything. Honestly, the sky is the limit. A lot of people would start with the name when they create a character for LARP. However, I like to build my character first before I get a name, just so I can get a feel of who he is and what he's like. For instance, Lark Willowstone sounds like quite a heroic name, hence why he has a big shield and armor. He's also a good guy. That's another thing, you don't have to be good. You could be evil, you could be fucking terrifying. You could jump straight into battle, you could go head first into the whole enemy line, sacrifice yourself so other people can live. It could be that heroic. You could be an evil mastermind if you want. You can hire people to go and get people, bring them back, and then torture them. This is all in character, by the way. You could concentrate on getting gold, you could be a magic user, you could be an archer, or you can use melee weapons, which is a common favorite. So you're thinking about joining LARP, but you're a little bit too scared because it's a big new thing and you don't know what's going on. My advice, take some friends. 1, 2, 3, 17 people. The more friends and the more people you know, the better. The thing about LARP is it's a very, very good community. Everybody's in the same boat here. Nobody's left out, everybody is playing their own character, and everybody is surprisingly friendly. Honestly, I've seen people that are about 7 foot tall. They come across as the baddest of asses, really big, butch, evil guy strikes you down in battle as you lay there dying on the floor, bleeding out. One of your arms has been cut off. You've only got 4 fingers left as you're screaming in pain as he leans right down next to you and whispers, "Good fight."
Nice one, dude.
LARP is a very honourable game, so if you're just joining LARP to cheat the system, then LARP is not for you. So when LARPing, you probably think to yourself, okay, how does the game work? Well, that's the thing, you make it work yourself. You go out and you find people to talk to. Everybody is playing as their own character. There are characters that are played for the game to make the game more interesting, i.e. giving out quests. The good thing about LARP is that there is no obligation to do anything that you don't want to do. So if you had one too many the night before, you can just go back to your tent, you can just go and chill. A lot of people like to stay back at their faction and defend against incoming monsters, which is what I tend to do quite a lot of the time. Honestly, the opportunities are endless. All you've got to do is just go out and explore. There are so many events worldwide that revolve around LARP. Me being an Englishman, I tend to stick to the ones in the UK. However, there are the likes of Bickerleen, Drakenfest, and hundreds more. I mostly attend Lorien Trust, which is based in England. However, this year I will be trying out Empire as well, which I have never done before. Lorien Trust is a fantastic system. There's around about 2,000 people that go per event, depending on how popular the event is. I have a group of friends that I go with, and it's great to just get away for a weekend, be a completely different person, and kill a bunch of people in character. So the way the game works is you usually have a point system, meaning every time you get hit, you lose a point, whether that be of armor damage or hit points. My character wearing a lot of armor, he tends to have a lot of armor points. Within Lorien Trust, everybody starts with a base of 1 hit point all round. Now when I say all round, I mean there are different places you can get hit. For instance, on the head, on the torso, each limb, including legs. So say you're a new character and you have 1 base hit per location or per lock. I get a strike on the arm. Oh no! Oh, my arm! It's dead! That limb is then rendered useless. You cannot use that limb until it is healed. Flopping around like a fish. It's just there, just flopping, doing nothing. It's even funnier when it happens to legs because you just gotta hop around like a madman. However, if it is your head or your torso, you are then rendered unconscious, meaning you drop to the ground in a state of unconsciousness. Did I do it right? There are 2 ways to come out of unconsciousness. One would be either to be healed by another player, or you can wait 10 minutes for the Ritual of Peace to kick in and then you can limp yourself back to base. That hasn't actually happened to me, so generally a lot of the time you will be healed by someone, unless they're planning to kill you and then you won't. I'm sure one of my friends actually got knocked unconscious and then was thrown into a bush, so no one could find him. Might still be there to this day, actually. So the year of 2020, this year, I will be attending some Empire events. I've never been to Empire, so I hopefully we'll have a good time. I may vlog it just depends because a lot of people don't like to be on camera, and obviously I will respect that. So I may try and vlog as much as I can. However, like I say, I won't be able to get much of the action. Alright, now everybody's favourite part, the weapons. Now generally all melee weapons are made of foam, sort of like a thick foam covered in latex. They also usually have a core inside them, a PVC core. You can make your own weapons, however I tend to buy them, just because I can't make them. So they're made of foam for a reason. You get hit with it. Obviously getting hit with a real mace is gonna hurt a lot more than it is with a foam one. The good thing about these weapons is that they're heavy enough to be able to feel the hit, which means then you can take your point of damage. So me being a shield user, I obviously have to use a shield. So Epic Armory were kind enough to send me this beautiful masterpiece of a shield, which is what I will be using for the future of Lark Willowstone. Like, this thing is incredible. It's so nice. Look at like the detail. How battle worn it is, it's just incredible. There are a different array of ways to hit people. For instance, with one-handed weapons like this, or you can have 2 in each hand. You can have a sword and shield, which is what my main character has. Or you can have badass, massive 2-handed weapons like this one, which is for a different character. Failing that, let's say you don't want to hit people with melee weapons. What do? Well, you go out and get yourself a bow and arrow, of course. That's right, you can actually have a bow and arrow in this game. Obviously, the tip of the arrow is lined with foam, which means it doesn't hurt you when you hit. Fantastic for people who want to stay away from being hit. Along with magic. Now, magic is a verbally speaking hit. The power of voice! No, you are not Dragonborn, you cannot say Fus Rodar. However, that would be kind of hilarious. To cast a magic spell, you will need to say the following words. By the power of magic, I blast your head! Simple, right? That's just one of the ways that you can use magic. There are a ton of other spells that I could go through, but I'm not going to have time to go through them all. There are damage dealing magic spells. There are also healing magic spells as well. Oh, I actually forgot there's actually one other way that you can deal damage, and that is by throwing objects. Sometimes there'll be objects scattered around the field. For instance, rocks, obviously made of foam, or rocks with runes painted on them. I think I saw a fish once. Tomatoes. People make the craziest shit. It's hilarious. Obviously, these tend to be a little bit more disposable because they get lost quite easily. There is also an array of effects that can happen to you. These are usually happen by magic. However, you can be striked by a weapon which will then cause an effect. For instance, paralysis. By the power of magic, I freeze you! Both very similar effects. However, freeze is a minute long, and paralysis is a bit longer. I think it's 5 minutes. Again, there are a ton of effects that can happen to you, so make sure you look up in the rule book to what can happen to you. A lot of people seem to like to fear me a lot, which means I run away screaming for a minute. It's kind of hilarious. As a new character, when joining LARP, you have yourself a set of skill points that you can use. Again, there is an array of different skills that you can take. I'm not going to mention them all now. However, you get the likes of body development, shield use, two-handed use, ambidexterity, and a shitload more. Choose what you pick wisely because you will be using these throughout your character's life. There is also an experience system called OSPs. These are given to people who regularly come back to LARP. Once you've accumulated enough, you can spend them on different things as well. For instance, immunities to different spells or mastering a weapon. How long do you stay at LARP? Each event happens over a weekend, usually a bank holiday. Sometimes in the summer you can be there from Friday to the Monday, depending on how long you want to stay. I like to leave on the Sunday because I like to have a little day's rest before I go back to work. Where do you sleep during a LARP event? You take your own tent. So there is an out-of-character camping area where you can set up your own tent and have all your gear and all your stuff there, and that's where you'll be sleeping. I like to get there early and put my tent next to the in-character camping area, so I know I'm not gonna have to stumble too far when I'm completely shit-faced. Which segues quite nicely onto my next subject, which will be alcohol. Yes, there is a lot of alcohol at LARP. However, the rules are very strict. It is 18+. Alcohol is purchasable at the in-character tavern, or you can bring your own. However, there is one rule that I will always say to people when they are out LARPing. Alcohol is not water. This is no joke. Do not quench your thirst with alcohol, quench it with water. You're gonna be running around a lot. You're gonna be incredibly hot, especially if you're wearing that fucking oven thing. You're gonna get thirsty very, very quickly, which is why it's always good to carry around a canteen full of water with you. However, you can just go back to your tent and have a nice gulp of water and then get back out in the field. Keep yourself hydrated. Hail hydrate! Which then moves on to the next subject of food. Yes, you can bring your own food. I tend to pack a few sandwiches that I make, some crisps, some chocolate, sausage rolls, anything that I can think of that I want over a 4-day weekend. However, it is not a necessity. You can bring money and there are food vans there. Delicious food, I might add. There's burgers, kebabs, pizzas, vegan options, sometimes a hog roast, ice cream, crepes, pancakes, soft drinks, Italian food, and there's actually also a rare meats cart as well, which is incredible. I had a camel burger from there once. It was delicious. The food vans are situated in the middle of the event, so it's kind of nice to just sort of, when you're out and about, just sort of convene at the food area, have a bit of a munch on some food. One of my favorite things to do at LARP is to shop. One of the hardest things about creating your character is getting the clothing, because you have to buy it all online. You don't see many LARP shops around. It gets to you and it doesn't fit. I have bought many things where I've bought XXL and they've come and it's been like a tent on me. It's honestly kind of hilarious, which is why I love going to LARP events so much, because you get to try on the clothing there. You could go to a LARP event with no clothing or weapons whatsoever. So long as you have money, you can go and you can buy everything there. It's a good strategy. I tend to buy things for future characters from there. It can mount up to something very expensive, so depending on how much you want to spend, you could spend thousands of pounds on a character, or you could spend 10 quid. It really depends on how far you want to go with it. I tend to like to spend a little bit more on my characters because I like to look fucking awesome. And I like to have massive weapons like this motherfucker. You're also probably wondering what the currency's like. Yes, there is in-game currency. There is bronze, silver, gold, and tal. Tal is worth 4 gold, 4 silver is worth a gold, and 4 bronze is worth a silver. At least I think that's right. In-character gold can be used for many things, including trading with other characters. There is an in-character shop as well where you can go and buy things with in-character money, or you can pay the taxi man and he will ferry you across the field to where you want to go. When I say taxi man, I might have to just clarify. There's a guy called Taxi and he lifts you up in a cart and he runs you across the field. I haven't done it yet, but I really want to this year. One of the best pieces of roleplay in Lorien Trust can come from rituals. Rituals are intense, really cool, cinematic, rehearsed rituals by characters to obtain something that is unobtainable. For instance, one of my friends was turned into a demon. I was a part of this ritual. Luckily, it went well, and my friend became a demon. However, the ritual doesn't go well. You could end up getting sucked into the void and killed. So rituals are very risky, but they're also incredibly good for roleplay. Okay, that about wraps up what my list says here. So my advice to you would be to go ahead and try LARP. Honestly, it is so much fun. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, or DM me on Instagram. I will leave a link in the description for my system. Make sure you look up the rules and regulations before you join any system. I hope this was somewhat useful. Just a little beginner's guide to people who don't know what LARP is or are thinking about getting into LARP. Some of my characters even feature in their own videos on my TikTok account. So if you want to get to know my characters a little bit more, go check out those videos. And keep an eye out on YouTube as well, because hopefully we're going to be doing a few skits as well. So I'm going to be doing like a few experiments to see what I can come up with. Now fly my pretties. Create a character now! So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you all have enjoyed. I hope this has been informative. And hopefully, I will see you on the field. I'll catch you later! Bye!
No face, no case. Bet I hit the first night, first date. Put that thing all on my face. Do what I say, no Instagram.